Beatitudes ASMR. My name is Michael, and today I'm going to be asking Claude some questions. Claude is an AI, and we're going to ask some questions. So, if you're a curious person and you have questions, this might be a good thing to do, is to ask the questions. So as you know, I like to ask questions about the Bible with AI and find out what it says. Some of you may have heard the term Beatitudes before, and you may be wondering to yourself, what is a Beatitude? What does it mean? Why is it important? Why is it important that I know what that is or what it means? So let's go ahead and ask Claude from Anthropic what that is and what that means. So let me type it out. Let me go ahead and type it out. Okay, so the question is, what are the Beatitudes in the Bible, and why are they called the Beatitudes, and what do they mean? Let's find out what it says. It's thinking. It's thinking. It says something. What does it say? Let's find out what it says. I'll go ahead and read it to you. So it says, the Beatitudes are a series of blessings or declarations of blessedness spoken by Jesus Christ in his Sermon on the Mount, as recorded in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 3 through 12. They are called the Beatitudes because the word beatitude comes from the Latin word beatus, meaning blessed or happy. The Beatitudes are, number 1, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Number 2. Number 3. Blessed are the meek. Blessed are the meek. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be called satisfied. For they shall be satisfied. Number 5 says, blessed are the merciful, for they shall receive mercy. Number 6 says, blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Number 7 says, blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God. Number 8 says, blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. It says, the Beatitudes outline the values and virtues that Jesus taught were essential for true happiness and the path to the kingdom of heaven. They emphasize humility, compassion, righteousness, mercy, purity of heart, peacemaking, and enduring persecution for righteousness' sake. The Beatitudes represent a countercultural perspective on what it means to be truly blessed or happy, emphasizing spiritual and ethical qualities over material possessions or worldly status. So you may be thinking to yourself, what does it mean to be poor in spirit? recognizing one's own spiritual neediness and inability to achieve salvation by one's own efforts. Number two, seeing oneself as spiritually bankrupt or destitute apart from God's grace and mercy. It's acknowledging one has nothing to offer God except an attitude of meekness and receptivity. There's a Bible verse that talks about what can man give in exchange for his soul. What do you have that you can give to God that he doesn't already have or can have? Nothing. There's nothing that we have. Number three, being poor. I want to say just before that, everything that we have is a gift. Everything good is a gift. Number three is being poor in the sense of having an unassuming, unpretentious, and modest spirit, rather than seeking wealth, status, or self-importance. So, number four is renouncing pride, self-righteousness, and putting complete trust in God rather than in one's own merits or accomplishments. Being poor in spirit is an interior disposition of the heart that empties itself before God. Jesus teaches that having this humble, dependent spirit makes one receptive to the kingdom of heaven and its blessings. It's a fundamental attitude for receiving God's grace, mercy, and salvation. If you don't think you need God's mercy, salvation, and grace, if you think you have everything anyway, there's not going to be any reason to try to seek first His kingdom and trust Him for everything else. This is an acknowledgement of need. It's an acknowledgement of an inability to save ourselves. Let's ask some more questions. So, I think, let's find out. So, blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Let me know if you have any questions about that one. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Let's find out what that means. What does it mean to be meek? It says to be meek in the context of the Beatitudes means to be humble, gentle, patient, non-vindictive. Specifically, it refers to having a mild, humble, and teachable spirit, being open to instruction and correction rather than being arrogant or stubborn, exercising restraint and choosing not to forcefully assert one's rights, privileges, or position. It's the opposite of being aggressive or coercive. Number three says demonstrating gentleness, forbearance, and not being easily provoked to anger or retaliation when faced with insult or mistreatment. Number four says having a quiet, unassuming, and courteous disposition rather than being brash or confrontational. So having a quiet, unassuming, and courteous disposition rather than being brash, or confrontational. Number five, entrusting one's cause to God rather than taking matters into one's own hands vindictively. To be meek does not mean to be weak, cowardly, or lacking inner strength. Rather, it describes having power or strength under control. The meek are those who have disciplined their attitudes and responses through humility before God. Jesus himself exemplified meekness, describing himself as gentle and humble in heart. That's from Matthew 11:29. To be meek is to manifest the gentleness and humility of Christ in one's interactions with others. Let me know if that was helpful to you. Are you already a meek person? Do you already exercise meekness this context, what does it mean to be righteous? It says, in the context of the Beatitudes, to be righteous or to hunger and thirst for righteousness means to earnestly desire to live according to God's laws, commands, and moral standards. My computer is having some trouble keeping up with the demand. I probably have 500 tabs open and it's struggling. If you hear a fan blowing, it's trying to breathe. Hopefully by taking time to read these answers, it's getting a break. We shall see. We shall see. We shall see. So in the context of the Beatitudes, to be righteous or hunger and thirst for righteousness means, number one says, to eagerly desire to live according to God's laws, commands, and moral standards. It refers to a passionate pursuit of personal holiness and conformity to God's will. To have an appetite for knowing and doing what is just, ethical, and pleasing to God in every area of one's life. Number three says to seek to live with integrity, being blameless and upright in character and conduct before God and others. Number four is to crave spiritual nourishment through God's word and to be filled with His righteousness imparted through faith in Christ. Number five, to thirst to see righteousness, justice, and God's kingdom purposes prevail in the world around us. So being righteous is not mere rule following, but an inner craving and commitment to embody God's perfect moral vision and one's motivations, thoughts, words, and deeds. It means aligning oneself with the righteous character and desires of God Himself. The promise is that those who truly hunger and thirst for this kind of ethical and spiritual righteousness will be ultimately satisfied and fulfilled in the coming kingdom of God. Their spiritual appetite will be met. Let's ask some follow-up questions specifically. Okay, it says, to be merciful. What does it mean to be merciful, pure in heart, and a peacemaker? In the context of the Beatitudes, these phrases mean to be merciful. Number one is to be compassionate and show kindness, forgiveness, and care to those in need or who have done wrong. Can you hear me over the fan? Can you hear me over the fan? It's very loud. Number two, what does it mean to be merciful? Number two says, to withhold harsh judgment and instead extend grace, empathy, and tenderheartedness. Number three says to mirror the merciful character of God by readily pardoning offenses against us. Do you readily pardon offenses against you? When someone upsets you, do you proactively forgive them in your heart? God has forgiven us everything that we've done in Jesus. He has forgiven us in Jesus. So everything that we've done has been paid for. He asks us to forgive everyone, whether they ask us to or not. We should forgive them. We should forgive them. And ask God to help heal the brokenhearted. Number two, the second question was about pure in heart. What does it mean to be pure in heart? So let's ask what that means to be pure in heart. Number one says to have undivided intentions, motives, and thoughts focused on God and His righteousness. To have a heart that is free from corruption. That's a heart that's free from corruption, sinful desires, and hypocrisies. That's a tough one. It's easy to point out fingers others and other people for things that they do or think or say. It's so hard to look in the mirror and to be honest with oneself and say, I have a problem. It's very hard to do that. That change, real change, can only come through God anyway. So, being aligned with Him makes sense in purity in heart. Number 3 says to have integrity, an integrated life where one's inner self matches one's outer action. That would help avoid the hypocrisy issue, saying one thing and doing something else. Number 4 is to cultivate holiness of mind and soul, entailing moral innocence and spiritual singleness of purpose. Having a holy mind is a tough one. When you have intrusive thoughts and things that don't agree with God or the Bible, to take those thoughts captive and make them captive and submit to Christ. Say, no, I'm not going to be thinking about the things. No, I choose not to believe that, God. I give that to you. This is not pleasing to you, and I choose not to dwell on it. And ask Him for the strength to do that, because they keep coming back in, and the only way that you can defeat them is having a God who is more powerful than the one who is in the world in you. To be a peacemaker. What does that mean? What do you think it means to be a peacemaker? Let's find out. It says to be actively pursuing peace, reconciliation, and healing in broken relationships and conflicts. To have a conciliatory spirit that looks to make peace between divided peoples or parties. Number 3 says to resolve differences calmly and promote unity, understanding, and harmony. To reflect the character of God, who through Christ reconciled humanity to Himself. It was Christ's death on the cross and resurrection. Now we have a ministry of reconciliation, God reconciling the world to Himself through Jesus. That's the gift of eternal life. That's the gift of being known by your Creator. That's a wonderful gift that is reflecting the character of God here. Number 4. So in summary, the merciful show compassion, the pure in heart are undivided devotion to God, and peacemakers work to resolve conflicts and bring people together in peace. All 3 qualities reflected the character of God that believers are called to embody. Let me know what you think of this video. Was this helpful for you? Was the fan too distracting? Did you learn anything? Do you have additional questions? What else would you like to hear about? What other things are you curious about? Let